The betrayal of some so-called leftist outfits was outrageous in our country. They are trying to prove the MCC neoliberal strategy as a great boon to the national economic development of Nepal. It means that they fail to see the prospect of socialist revolution and transformation in our country. Dear Mr. Chairperson, Senior Leader, Comrade Vikram Singh, distinguished guests from China, Sri Lanka, Philippines, and Germany, dear colleagues, panelists, and participants. As the chief guest of this Customer of Dialogue Series 2, I would like to greet all of you at the very beginning of your active participation in this momentous occasion, which is going to reflect through different sessions on the facts and lessons of the MCC in Nepal. I hope it might be a very important and proper forum to express our views and bring a brilliant conclusion about the past MCC and again revive MCC. As all of us know, the process of ratification of the MCC agreement between the government of Nepal and MCC USA saw many turbulent scenarios in the past. The agreement contains many vulnerabilities. The first and foremost is that it is designed to serve the purpose of giving articulation to a deeply designed security strategy of the US government in South Asia. And therefore, it may cause serious harm to the long-standing geopolitical balance in Nepal's relation with our great neighbors, the People's Republic of China and Republic of India. Hence, the agreement saw a flood of comments and opinions from all walks of Nepalese life. However, the major political parties that lead the government and represented the opposition bench choose to disregard the people's opinion and people's voice and the nation's interest. When the ratification process was going on, a drama was surprisingly played within the House of Representatives and the meeting of the political parties. Some political parties brought their students and youths onto the streets, but negotiated with MCC policymakers and representatives in the closed meeting rooms. Many leaders of the political parties betrayed the people and nation, and many youths, students, experts, and intellectuals for their patriotic stand suffered a lot. Some of them disappeared from the scene today, and some of them face very difficult times too. Even in the process of ratification, the then opposition party of the parliament was on the strike against the government. They tried to stop the ratification process for their own self-interest. They had encircled the well of the house. They were making loud slogans against the government. No voice was audible to anyone when the ratification process was going on in our parliament. No voice was audible. There was noise in every corner of the house. At that very moment, one member of government put forward the proposal for ratification to the House from the rostrum. Nobody could listen to the voice of the speaker. I also went to the rostrum and opposed the ratification process. Comrade Bhimrao and Comrade Premsua also opposed from the floor. But there was no even discussion at all within the House of Parliament. Finally, the Speaker declared that MCC project has been ratified by the Parliament of Nepal. This was a surprising drama of ratification of MCC from our Parliament. While thousands of people were protesting from the many streets of Kathmandu capital against the ratification without improving the MCC document, would there be a more shameful thing than it for an independent, democratic, and dignified country like Nepal? Most of the people of Nepal are always patriotic. They love our country more than their life, but they have been betrayed this way by some leaders of this country. However, dear friends, this is only one dark page of history of my beloved country. I think such events are normal in the patriotic movement in the international arena too. Patriotic people everywhere must be bold enough to defend the interest of the people, nation, and their country. The betrayal of some so-called leftist outfits was outrageous in our country. They are trying to prove the MCC neoliberal strategy as a great boon to the national economic development of Nepal. It means that they fail to see the prospect of socialist revolution and transformation in our country, as predicted even in the recent constitution of our country. In this backdrop, it is necessary to reflect on what the MCC projects has achieved over the last 7 years. Since the agreement was signed in 2017, the nation stands in the dark regarding its implementation. The nation does not know who works on this project, and the nation's parliament does not even refer to the progress in the parliament. The 2019 implementation agreement provides that the government of Nepal should stay completely away from the implementation of the project. And an organization called MCA Nepal can have full autonomy to implement all activities under the direct direction of MCC USA. Dear colleagues, you can see a national depression has been looming large. No ruling and opposition party leaders dare to speak in this regard. They are silent, unusual. Unfortunately, those political leaders and bureaucratic officials might have their children in the USA, and therefore it is risky for them to reflect critically on MCA in Nepal. The ruling and some opposition political parties have lost sight of the geopolitical character of Nepal's foreign policy. Nepal's economic relationship with neighboring countries has been in disarray. Neoliberal consumerism has densely emerged in Nepal. The MCC agreement seeks to internationally protect the neoliberal economy and defy the socialist orientation promoted even Nepal's constitution. In this context, this conference is very, very vital and imminent. Dear friends, as we know, there were two agreements signed. Gyanendra Bahadur Karki signed the first agreement with Jonathan Nath in 2017, and Indian Finance Minister Yuvraj Khattiwada signed the second agreement with the Vice Chair of the MCC in 2019. Interestingly enough, while the Nepali Congress has initiated MCC, The honor of expanding the agreement goes to the government led by one communist faction. Sometimes it looks like a joke, but it has been a reality. Of these two agreements, only the 2017 agreement was submitted to the House of Representatives for ratification or approval. Nonetheless, none of these agreements have a provision having a requirement of parliamentary ratification. Both these agreements are financial aid agreements. They are bilateral agreements in nature, and they in no way fall in the category requiring ratification by the Parliament. The only motive behind ratification was to endorse the provision of the agreement that supersedes the supremacy of Nepal's law, and thus the MCC agreement can control Nepal's governance system. This was the real motive of the ratification of the MCC in such a shameful manner without any discussion from the Parliament. There was no discussion at all. Nobody could speak there. There was noise and noise and noise. So amid that situation, that was ratified. Therefore, the ratification is looked for endorsement of these US laws and policies, officially by the legislative body of the country like Nepal, where new parliamentary democracy was established recently. However, the agreement has been vague and has been fully prepared without paying attention to the interest of Nepal. The document shows that the involvement of the Nepalese side in the drafting role seems very poor or negligent. Actually, if the agreement is brought into implementation in the present structure, some serious problems will occur, even creating a serious fallout in Nepal-China and Nepal-India relations in the future. Therefore, to ensure the agreement comes into smooth operation, a serious review of terms and conditions is required. A few important issues to be addressed can be encapsulated as follows. The MCC agreement does not contain a provision requiring ratification from the Federal Parliament of the Republic of Nepal. Hence, the question regarding why it was dragged to the Parliament has no simple answer. It has many things behind it. A serious concern not addressed by the org of having this agreement ratified by the Parliament is that the same demand regarding agreements and treaties may be put forward by other countries also. Even China and India also could demand. The requirement of ratification may, in fact, be pushed by some investors in Nepal and abroad to get rid of the parliamentary legislation of Nepal. This agreement gives sweeping authority to MCC and MCA Nepal, violating the constitution of Nepal. The authority given to MCC and MCA Nepal is exclusive of the government of Nepal. This agreement gives such power to the MCA Nepal that it has the authority to supersede government of Nepal. MCA Nepal is established by the executive order of the government of Nepal, however. But the agreement has provision to bind the government. These terms are derogatory to Nepalese sovereignty. Nepal's executive power under Article 75 of the Constitution cannot be questioned, cannot be transformed, cannot be reduced or abrogated by any agreement signed with the foreign government. Dear colleagues, this agreement allows MCA Nepal to recruit foreigners, and the government of Nepal is subject to granting a visa for an unlimited period. Why? There is no answer. No agreement can transfer the power of government that directly relates to the security of Nepal. This agreement actually applies Nepal Nepal to sign the electricity deal only with India. It creates a monopoly of India in the electricity market of Nepal. This cannot be acceptable. Under the Vienna Convention and the Law of Treaties 1968, ultimately, this agreement will be a tool of bargaining with India. Finally, yet importantly, the ownership of the government over land property used by project activities is also in question. Without property, it is said that from those lands already under the leadership of MCA, under the ownership of MCA, nobody could use that land. I think in the future, if there will be a rail from China to Nepal, the rail must go through that land, but it has already captured by MCA. So it must be changed. If we have to bring rail from China to Nepal. Some time ago, the new administration of President Trump of America issued an order to stop US aid and MCC. But again, sometime before, US administration has revived MCC, particularly in Nepal. Only Nepal. Why? Why this inconsistency from US government? What has been the reason behind it? Is it not again Nepal being in a must strategic location geopolitically? We have to find out a proper, practical, analytical, and logical answer about this change. For this purpose, we have organized this another Kathmandu Dialogue Series 2. I hope there will be a very lively, cordial, factual, and logical discussion in all the sessions today and tomorrow, and bring a very practical and logical conclusion in the context of very fastly changing global and regional political scenario around us, so that our relation in the future with our neighbors and with the world would be more fruitful. With these reflections, I would like to end my remarks. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.